No problem, tries to. I keep my mom. Really makes you taste a best of drugs. It's good and I'm nasty. Yo, 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 yo. Alright. Ride with me. My guest is on the way. This come first. Before you do it, no chance. Nobody plays. Oh, baby, says didn't know you listen to oh. Let me add my guest. My guest is here. We're in the building. It's K Brown, the CEO, host of the Most You Rockin' with KNT Radio. And we got my special guest, Abthehero from Big Baller Brand. You already know. Yo, 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 yo.
What's up? What's up?
Yo, all right, yo, the hat for me. It's the hat for me.
Hey.
Yo, it's your boy K Brown, the CEO KNT Entertainment. Exotic Beauties Modeling, you and all that. See, I got my NBL jersey on because I knew the Big Baller was going to be in the building. The Big Baller family, you already know. And I got my special guest, Abthehero. Tell them what you do and where you from, bro.
What's happening? Abthehero. I am a YouTuber. I traveled a little bit with the Ball family when they were doing the JBA. We went the domestic tour. I did the commentary. We went overseas. I did the commentary there. I've been a supporter since way before then as well, man. And I just been trying to hold it down for what I call the culture. You feel me? And the BBB universe and all that stuff for a long time, man, for sure.
And I want to introduce you to my co-host. Sorry we're not in the office right now. The podcast studio is becoming a media center for the youth. We're going to start opening up a whole bunch of social media classes, media classes. We're going to start showing these people how they copyright contracts and stuff, right? And it's under renovation, so we out of the office right now, but we still got to work.
No, I dig that. That's dope. That's dope. That sounds cool as hell.
Introduce yourself, co-host.
What's up? My name's Misfit. Very nice to meet you and everyone that's tuned in. Thank you. We really appreciate you here. Like Khalil said, we are doing a media center, so everything's under construction. Apologies for not being in the office right now, but it will be done and up and running shortly. So, bear with us, guys.
Okay. And I want to ask you, where are you from originally?
So I'm from Florida originally, Tallahassee, Florida, and then now I'm in Indianapolis, Naptown.
Okay. Right. So what did you start doing that made the Ball family draw attention to you?
Well, like I said, man, I've been on the YouTube scene for a minute, right? And I was kind of doing sports commentary, and I stumbled across their story, so I started following and making content about that. And truthfully, what it was two things. It was during the time when they were in Lithuania, right? I remember Alan Foster. I don't know if you remember him. He's one of the...
Yeah, I remember him,
What he told me, I was doing these previews and recaps on those Lithuania games. And so at one point, they came back from Lithuania here, and they were trying to figure out how to watch the game in Lithuania. Couldn't do it, stumbled across my channel, and then started just watching my content from there. Then there was another point where the Better Business Bureau was trying to like, I don't know why, but the CEO of the Better Business Bureau came out and did a TMZ video about the Big Baller brand. And I did like a rebuttal to that. And that rebuttal kind of shifted the narrative that was happening on the Better Business Bureau website, right? It was just a bunch of folks with negative comments, and then instantly it shifted to like a lot of more positive comments and people talking about they did get their merch and all that stuff. So that and they really appreciated that, so they reached out right after that.
Okay, and then I have the Vitalis LIANGELO too. I had to grab that too. So I've been following, and I want to thank you. You gave me a shout out one time on the JBA game. I was watching it, and you know when y'all were the first people to do interactive commentary.
Yeah.
So that would.
I feel like that was a game changer, man. I hope more people get into that, but that was a cool little aspect of that.
And it was cool me watching it on my show, and you gave me a shout out. And you ain't even know who I was. No. And then look where we at now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you don't know anything about the JBA, it's the league where LeVar Ball created to pay the players so you won't have to waste your talent in college where it's illegal for you to make money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to explain more. What was the experience like on the JBA? We're gonna walk through.
Man, I think that for anybody who was a part of that, man, they would say it was probably the experience of a lifetime, right? So it just was one of those moments where maybe hindsight, people would probably do something different. But in that moment, it was like the best of everything, right? You got a lot of these young guys who got an opportunity to play basketball on a like professional level, get paid to do it. Travel, hotels, city to city, right? It was a moment, man. It was cool. And I think that it really shaped the culture of not just like this BBB universe, but like basketball in general. And amateurism, and we seen like the NBA start to make moves with the G League and do something different. We see college making changes now. We see players going all over the world when they don't have to, and so it was dope to be a part of that in that moment. And I felt like everybody who was a part of it felt like we were making history.
Yeah. So what was it? Was it really like so what was the lifestyle like? Like, was you every 2 days a different game, a different city? What was that like?
Yeah.
The travel and all that?
So it was cool for us as staff, right? So the thing that people don't even realize is obviously there was a lot of people who worked behind the scenes, right? There's the camera crew who was broadcasting live. There's probably like 10 or 15 people there, but I would say like the core team of folks who like myself and like maybe 5 other people who booked the arenas, booked the travel, you know what I mean? Like it was a small group of people who did that, and we traveled from city to city. And so our experience was a bit different than some of these players because they kind of traveled to every other city. But for us, it was like every other night we were somewhere else, you know what I mean? I think that one night we went from Houston, flew in the middle of the night to Dallas, to Seattle, and then had a game the same day. You know what I mean? Like, and one of the things I think people don't realize, we're doing 2 games back to back, right? So that's your normal commentator is doing like his one role, one game tonight. We 5 hours live streaming you know what I mean? So it's a different experience, but it was cool, man. We did some cool stuff off the back of that while we were out there traveling.
So the national tournament was first, right? So you did y'all picked their best players. Y'all did the tryouts, and I watched it. And speaking of Seattle Bottle, I really like ISO Rel. I really like his game.
Yeah.
Shout out to ISO Rel if you in the comments. You feel me? No, so you did the national tour first, right? And then you moved to the what? Do you know what players did y'all actually choose to go to the JBA USA tour out of the regular JBA national tour?
I could probably name them all, to be honest. Let me see. It was, I think we started with one group of players, and then we had some like adjustments and changes, and then so some people went home, some people stayed. But I had like Dion Lau, Curtis Hollis, Jarrell Springer, ISO Rel, Cam Clark, who he was a hooper, big dude hooper. Jamichael Morgan, obviously Jello, Mello. We had then eventually Nate, what's his name? Nate. Big Nate Davis is, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I like Big Nate Davis, the center, right?
Yeah, I don't think his last name. There's Melvin Davis, and then there's Nate.
Melvin,
Yeah.
Melvin Davis.
There's Nate.
George Floyd too.
Greg, yeah, George Floyd. Yeah, I
Greg
was like,
Floyd.
yeah, Greg Floyd.
And I wanted to speak on it. What was it like having two future NBA players like covering them, like LIANGELO, LAMELO? What were they like during the JBA tour? And then we're gonna go to the World Tour.
Well, I'll say it was different during the JBA tour, right? Because, like I was saying, as our staff, we traveled city to city, and each one of those teams kind of got to a place and stayed into their game, right? So after the game was over, you go to another place. So with the players, we didn't really spend as much time on the day-to-day with the players as we did like in the USA tour. So we kind of see them in passing before the game, do some interview, like, give me some quotes for the game that we can use during the live stream and all of that stuff. But we didn't really get to spend a lot of intimate time, I would say, with the players during that tour. But they were cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's meeting them for the first time in that setting was really cool because the TV show was filming at the time, right? So you imagine we all hanging in the hotel, and then all of a sudden camera crew come in, and you know what I mean, LeVar come in, and he is galvanizing people and talking, and then you got those two there who at the time were high school kids, but was still like, you know what I mean, household names almost at that time. So it was an interesting experience, man.
I want to ask another question. I seen you went to the Big Baller State. I seen that.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Like, what did he call you? What did he?
So that was cool, man. That was what it was is whenever they started the JBA, right? They had, like I said, we had that little core group of staff members, and pretty much they called a meeting out in Chino Hills. So it was kind of twofold thing. It was actually like the Ball in the Family show was taping like a party for LaMelo and them. So they had just left Lithuania, and they were doing like a housewarming, like, y'all back home, welcome home party. You know what I mean? Fresh out type party. And so everybody in the whole family was there. Everybody in the neighborhood, everybody that played basketball was at the house. And then we were there to really work. And so it was actually cool for me, though, because I got to like stay the night. You know what I mean? So most folks came and like left the next day, but like the way my flights and stuff was set up, like I had a room in there and all that stuff for the night. So it was cool, man. It's a cool experience, man. That the estate is huge for one, and they have so many pieces in there like that I just had never seen before. Like there's no grass on the entire state, right? It's all like AstroTurf. You know,
like the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So there was something like where one of the guys was hypoallergenic or whatever, so they just put AstroTurf there. You know what I mean? Just like so you could be comfortable. We'd take up all the grass and put like carpet there. So it was a cool experience, man. So
how long have you been covering them, the Ball family?
Man, let me see. Probably a while, man. I would say it's crazy to say this, man, but it's been like maybe 2.5 to 3 years almost since the JBA was touring, since it started, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was probably covering them for maybe a year or so before that happened, right? I think that they really came on my radar, obviously, like Lonzo's senior year in Chino Hills, but I really kind of started diving more into the story like once he was at UCLA. So back when he was there is when I kind of got involved with it and really started kind of paying attention and creating kind of consistent content around it.
Okay, so now you finished the JBA national tour, right? And now you're moving to the world tour. What's that like when you're moving from a different city every other day to a different country every other day?
Right.
Yeah, man, that I would tell you that was probably one of the most surreal experiences that I've like ever had in my life, right? Because if you think what we were doing is like a bucket list situation for a lot of people, right? Like you would have to pay a lot of money to be, you know what I mean, to go travel Europe for 2.5 months, right? And we got to do that not only, I would say, for free, but we got paid to do it for one. And like, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So imagine we're going country to I think I've been to almost 18 countries at this point. Just
Oh my God.
and it was cool because the majority of it was we had a tour bus basically. So it's not like we flying country to country. We actually driving country to country. So you know when you
Oh, because
drive,
Europe is connected. Oh,
exactly.
okay.
So you really get to see a lot more, right? The landscapes, you get to see it, the environment change from country to country. You know what I mean? You get to get out at the rest
Mm.
stop and hear the language, see the signs change. You know what I mean? So it's just a more in-depth experience. So it was cool, man. It was there were a lot of times where we would be out there, and for the most part, I hung out with the coaches, right? Because the kids on the team, they're like 20 something, you know what I mean? They're cool, and we
Okay.
kicked it a decent amount, but I need adults, you know what I mean, to hang out with. So I would
I
hang
feel
out with
you.
the coaches, and we would be just out walking or doing something, and we'd be like, yo, we are here, man. Like, we down in Moscow, Russia, walking around. It's like, yo, people, I don't know anybody who has walked where you walk down in Moscow, Russia. You know what I mean? Like that type
That's a
of
fact.
surreal moment we just had over and over and over again. So it was cool, man.
What do you feel like?
What?
I'm sorry, I need to chime
No, you go ahead.
because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to play ball. Basketball is my favorite sport, so I get very intrigued when I hear conversations like this and we touch on topics like this as far as the line of work that you do. So for one, what is the favorite, like your favorite country you've been in so far? Like, and what are some of the things that you saw that like were, big eye openers for you, as far as being able to travel to these countries and, meet different people and learn different things? Because I've never been to another country outside of the United States, you know what I'm saying? So I really know that.
I would say I think like I said, I had some pretty amazing experiences, right? So for one, it was kind of crazy, but we were in Germany, and my dad like has like a long lost brother, right? My granddad was in the military in Germany, and he had a son, and then came back here, and then like maybe 2 years before we went over there, you know how they had those little ancestry tests,
Yeah.
and so they
Yeah.
can link and be like, oh, you got some family here and here. So my uncle who lives in Germany did that, and some of my family here did it, and then realized that they were related, right? So we get to Germany, and we like go to this. We're in the most random hotel, like on the side of the highway. Like there's nothing there, and everything in Germany is so expensive, so you can't even like Uber to a town. Like we pretty much stuck on the side of the road. And I like reach out to them via Facebook, and they're like, "Yo, where you at?" And I tell them, and they're like, "Yo, you 20 minutes away from where we at."
Wow.
So
Yeah.
That's
my
destiny.
yeah, so my uncle, who I never knew I had, was 20 minutes away. They came and picked me up, and we had maybe 2 days or so before the next game. So I like spent 2 or 3 days in Germany with them, like traveling around. They showed me the whole like little countryside where they stay at, and I got to like really just kick it with my like long lost uncle for a while, man. And so that was probably the coolest experience. And so Germany was one of my favorite places.
Right.
I'll say Russia was really cool too, just because the it just feels different, right? There's certain places you can go, and it's like there's no way this is anywhere in America. You know what I mean? And you feel
Word.
that right there. But I think the biggest epiphany that I felt like I had was it really made me appreciate, like I'll tell you, I'm from Florida, but I live in Indianapolis now. And it really made me appreciate like here in Indianapolis, because there'll be things. I'm a photographer, videographer by trade as well. So I'm
Okay.
out taking pictures of like monuments, buildings, architecture, plants, and all of this stuff. And there's certain things that I feel like when you see in a different country, you have some type of admiration for,
Mm-hmm.
but where you're from, you walk by something just as beautiful every day, you know?
Word.
So when I got back here, I'm looking around, I'm like, yo, if this was in Germany, if this was in Lithuania, I would have my camera out taking pictures. I'd be in awe of it. And I like see it 1,000 times and never really even paid it attention. So it really made me appreciate those like fine details and understanding like why cities and environments and put those type of like pieces of architecture in place, you know what I mean, to create a culture. So it moved me for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's dope. And I seen you a foodie like me.
100%, man. 1,000%. Yeah.
So what's the best? Who got the best food in Europe? What country?
Mm.
You know what? There is. I, I'll be honest with you, bro. Most of them they food whack.
For real?
Most of them whack. It's because they do. I don't know what it is, man. They take stuff to another level, man. We are eating pizza, right? And it's like pickles on the pizza and not pepperonis, but like big old chunks of ham. You know what I mean? Just like random stuff where you think you're ordering what we eat it, the way we eat it, and they just got a different twist on it. So most of it was whack. But the one thing that we found to be like pretty good everywhere we went, and it kind of became a game for us to like, they have like those kebabs or like
Yeah.
gyros type things. So anywhere, everybody got a gyro and a kebab there. So we would just get them wherever we were, and like, and we would debate on who had the best like kebabs in Europe, you know. And there's like a little spot in Estonia that it was like right next to our hotel. I wish I could remember the name. I don't. But like had
Estonia, where's that at?
it's
Estonia.
Estonia is it. I'm gonna say this, but I think I'm right here. It is. I believe it's connected to Russia. It's like on the western side of Russia. So we like I said, we were in the van a lot. So we flew into Russia, then we took a tour bus out and we drove over to Estonia, out of St. Petersburg, Russia. And there's like they put the barbecue sauce on, they cut it off the little thing. Excellent. I like
That
almost
sounds
put, yeah,
amazing. I'm not
it was
lying.
fire.
Just
So what?
23.
So what was the?
Germany,
Go ahead.
Italy, and France have the best food.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I-
So go ahead.
with that tour, we never. I personally have been to France just on my own, so I can vouch for like the pastries and all that stuff there. And then
Okay.
I've never been to Italy, so you know what I mean. So I can't vouch for that, but
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
But I
okay.
wouldn't be
So what was
surprised.
the tour bus vibe like? So was it long from country to country? Like what was it like 24 hours? Like you hop off and you're right back on the tour bus? What was it like?
I would say, man, they honestly they did a really good job. Oh, I got hung on my heart. They did a really good job of mapping the tour out, right? The longest trip that we took was our first game was in Denmark, Svendborg, Denmark, and we were like in town for maybe 2 weeks, 2 days. I'm sorry, we were in town for maybe no, not maybe. I'll say we were in town for maybe 3 days. So think about this: the league ends in August. Our first game is towards the end of September. So all of the players
Okay.
had went home, and then they all flew from LA all the way to Svendborg, Denmark, and then
Mm.
they practiced for maybe 2 days and then played their first game versus a team who had like already been there and been practicing for like 2 months. So we were a bit rusty, but they strategically set it up where we went to Lithuania for maybe like a week and a half or so, and like just had like a compound and pretty much like our training camp. And so from
Mm.
Svendborg, Denmark to Lithuania was probably like a 13-hour ride that we went on. But
Mm.
we stopped, I think like one night in Poland, you know what I mean? So they broke it up in half. And the Poland trip ended up being like kind of one of my worst experiences on there. I
Why
had
you say
to
that?
Hey.
I went to this place. We tried to go like hang out at a night spot, and they were swiping my card like it was Polish money, but they were really swiping like US dollars. So it's like the conversion rate is like, let's say, and this is not right, but for example, 50 Polish dollars is like one US dollar, right? So
Okay.
on the menu it say like this item costs $200, 200 Polish dollars. But what they're doing is swiping US dollars for 200.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So I
it should have
walk
been $4.
exactly. And then, so I'm like leaving out and my bank is calling me like, "Yo, are you in Poland spending $700 tonight?" You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Yo, no, I don't know what y'all talking about." And so I had to like cancel my card in order for them to like erase the charges. So like the beginning of our trip,
Mm.
I didn't have a debit card for like the next like month and a half. So it
Oh,
made it hard for me. But yeah, that sucked a little bit, but it
Oh
was fun.
man. So
terrible.
okay.
It straightened out.
What was that? Go ahead.
Did you get it straightened out?
I mean, I got it straightened out, but it was more like they erased the charges, but I just didn't have a debit card anymore, right? So they couldn't send me
Yeah.
one because we're moving so much.
Right.
And like you know, what I mean, I don't know the I can't give you an address, you know. Anyway, so it was hard because then I'm out here with like trying to borrow some money. Can I cash app you? You know what I mean? Like trying to figure it out. Like so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Word. So you're on tour, right? What is it? What is your prep like coming for a 4-hour broadcast? What is your prep? If you know you're going to commentate, what is your mindset like before a game?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it really transitioned from the beginning of like just the first night, right? Where I really had never done that before. So I like, you know what I mean? They literally picked me off YouTube and was like, yo, you're gonna commentate these live streams. So I always say,
Wow.
so like the night before, I remember asking, because I was watching like a bunch of basketball games and trying to see if I could, you know what I mean, jock somebody's style a little bit. And I remember talking to Alan again, and I was like, yo, like, how you want me to do this? You want me to be funny? You want me to like be super serious? Like, how you want me to? And he was like, look, whatever you can do whatever you want to do. But if it's cool, it'll be because you made it cool. And if it's whack, it's because you was whack, you know? And I was
Word.
like, all right. So for me, I started trying to come up with like, let me say the weirdest catchphrase I can come up with, you know what I mean? So we started doing the chicken out the oven. We started doing the putting the potato salad in the raisins in the potatoes, you know what I mean? Just like random stuff. So that was like my way to like make it a bit different. But a lot of times, man, it was just really just talking with coaches and like the players and really getting their experience in the moment. It was really hard when we went international because first of all, everybody, I can't pronounce nobody's name over there. You know what I'm saying? So they gave me,
No.
I got a roster and they got letters that I ain't never seen before, or they got the alphabet that look like, you know what I mean? That don't make no sense to me. So I'm trying to learn how to pronounce people's names and I'll just butcher names, you know what I mean? Like the entire time. But what somebody told me was just the people who are watching, right? Because most people watching are from America. They don't know that I'm
Word.
butchering names, you know?
Right.
It's
Word.
only if I'm like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, Raskurukurata with the three, you know what I mean? Don't nobody know except for his family who watching, you know? So that's what it was, man. Just that kind of prep and trying to, I really looked at it as because we would have these back behind the scenes meetings, right, with Facebook, because it was a lot of people don't know, like Facebook were kind of partners with the league, and that's how that stream set up and all that was
Yeah,
there.
that's how I used to watch it on Facebook.
Yeah, and so they would be kind of critical at times, like you all talk too much about the JBA USA players and the team. Like you need to start talking about the other team. And the way I broke it down to them was, it's like if you watch a Lakers game, the Lakers got the same commentators. You watched the Hornets games last year, you got the same guy. You got Dale Curry and you got my other man who was the skip diddly do, you know what I mean? And they
Yeah, word.
riding for the Hornets. We know that they want them to win. I'm like, this is our team. Like, we're not unbiased commentators. We just pulled up here with the bus, you know what I mean? Like, so we're gonna go hard
Word.
for these guys. And I think they caught it, and then so it really became easier because it wasn't so much about. It was important for us to highlight the other team, but it wasn't so much for us to like know everything about them and then make this a fair and unbiased broadcast because we wanted JBA USA to get the W.
And another thing too, I wanted to congratulate LeVar for utilizing some of the players and throwing them on the TV show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that gave him some marketability. So, and also too, what is Ball in the Family? What's behind the scenes of the Ball in the Family like? I watched every season on Facebook. If you didn't watch every season, watch it on Facebook. You know what I mean? What was that like behind the scenes with that?
Man, that was interesting experience seeing how they kind of put that together because for one, it shout out to them because that was the extra check for all of those players who ended up on the show. You know what I mean? So they got,
Shout out to Facebook.
yeah, so they got paid for that. So if they pulled up in the episode, like they got extra money for doing that. I didn't get paid, so I was just in every episode almost for a while, and I didn't get the extra money, but it was cool. But what was interesting is it showed me how like reality television shows are made, right? So it's entertainment, and so it would be, I watched the show back, especially over the USA tour, and I could see how like the hotel that they would say in the show, we were in, like, let's say in the show we were in London, but the hotel that they were in was when we were in Germany. You know what I mean? And they would piece together like to help tell the story, you know? Or like they would make it seem like we went here, or like the outside of the building would be a place that we had actually went, but it wasn't like where the scene was actually taken. You know what I mean? It was like kind of piecemeal together. So it made sense, and it was semi-accurate, but like it was all over the place type of thing. But it was cool.
Was that your first time acting on a TV show?
Well, you know, I wasn't acting. You know what I'm saying? I was out here just doing.
You're being yourself, but you're on a TV show.
But I'm trying to think. What have I been on a TV show before? Yeah, pretty much, man. I was obviously, once we started doing the games, like they would. If you go back and listen to them, it's kind of cool. Like my voice is on a lot of it. You know what I mean? Commentating and all of my like little catchphrases and on there. But when we went to the house that time, they were filming, like I said. So that was my like first appearance on the show. But I think like, yeah, that's probably my only, like, you know what I mean, TV show credit to date right now. You know, I need to get another one. Yeah.
Word. So they moved from the show, and then so I want to ask about, so how many, like after the JBA, right? What was it like after the G League decided to pay the players $125,000 to shut the league down?
Well, I would say, man, truthfully, that is not really what caused the end of the league. You know, it was I'll call it like a few different things, right? It was more so during the domestic tour, right? Everybody in the United States was like clamoring for, like, man, we need some black owners in the NBA and the NFL, and we need this. And so it seemed like such a great idea. We got this league, the loudest black man in America is the owner of it. You know what I mean? Like, you got some kids who like have some notoriety and people will show up for. And while a lot of people supported the live stream in the building, people didn't like show up. You know what I mean? Here domestically. But then when we go internationally, people are traveling 2 or 3 countries away to show up to a game, right? So it just made it like, it's like, man, we could go, and it actually was probably more expensive to do the US side of the tour than it was the international tour. So it was that, like, the money became an issue. Is like, is this feasible to continue to do? Because you end up trying to break even, or you paying for everything out of pocket. And then it was, right, the Melo situation happened where he was ready to go back to Spire, and he did that. And then, like, Jello was injured the whole time that we were there, you know what I mean? So exactly. So it was either we got to a place that was kind of scheduled, and it was the halfway point of the tour. It was Thanksgiving was coming up, and everybody was about to go home for Thanksgiving and then fly back out to go to like Asia. And at that moment, I think that they just realized that if they flew back to go to Asia, Jello wouldn't be there, Melo wouldn't be there, and it would be like the JBA guys who people like loved and folks cared about, right? But the people who in LeVar wouldn't be there too, right? Because he was in Ohio with Melo. So so like the actual big baller brand wasn't going to be on the tour anymore, right? So it was just like, now do we spend another $1 million to travel around Asia, or do we kind of end it? So it kind of shut it down. And then later on, the NCAA and then all of these other people started like changing the rules and all of that stuff. that made it hard to justify, I believe, like bringing it back in the same way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also a blessing because y'all chose to pay the people, and you know that if you showed the way that you can do it, and once one person do it, it can be recreated.
Yeah.
And so now they had to kind of stop it because it's kind of messing their coins up. It's either now pay or move out the way now.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you something. What do you think? You think Jello gonna make it in Vegas to the Hornets?
I think he will, man. I was saying this the other day on the channel where I think for sure he did enough to be able to like stay in the organization, at least be on the G League squad, right? In the Swarm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he showed that he has the ability though to be a rotational player and then maybe get some minutes with like the actual ball club as well. I just think that it's a matter in based off of last year, right? The way that they tried to develop Melo and bringing him along slow off the bench and all of that stuff. So it's like if they brought Melo along slow off the bench, then I can only imagine that they're gonna bring Jello along even slower, right? And kind of build him in. So I think he'll be within the organization. I just think that he's gonna have to earn his keep from this point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you don't think Melo being a franchise player now can help?
Oh, I mean, it has helped, right? Like, I think that everybody has said him joining the team, him getting the access to be in front of the GM, to be in front of the coaches was simply because his brother is like the franchise player. I think that he is past the point, though, now of like, my brother did me a solid, and now they look at him like a real basketball player. Right. And so,
absolutely.
So with that, I think where and how far he can take it is based on him, right? Because your brother can get you on the team, but he can't get you minutes. You know what I'm saying? I agree. So you gotta like earn your minutes.
Okay. Is he the best shooter out of the Ball brothers? Now you've seen all three of them play basketball in person. They're all in the NBA, but you've seen all three of them from probably 15 to 20, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Melo's 19 now. You probably see Melo from 14 to 19. Yeah. Who's the best shooter out of all the Ball brothers?
Man, I think that's easy, man. It's Jello, man. That boy a sniper.
For real, he can really shoot like that in person.
Yeah, he's a shooter, man. He a shooter. You seen it from that first game, man. He came out there lighting that thing up, and for him, I think was probably going to be the biggest hurdle is he like can get hot, you know what I mean? But for most players, whenever you get hot, you need to get some shots up. You know what I mean? You got to catch a rhythm. You got to know that you're being utilized. I believe like being a shooter like that's a mental thing. It's confidence, you know? So you pulling him out and sitting him and all that stuff. Even though he's ultra confident in that shot, like it affects your rhythm, it affects your time, and it affects the mental part of it. So he just got to figure out a way to like, to supersede whatever they're doing to him, and he'll be all right. But yeah, he's by far the best shooter, man.
Okay, I got a question. Who's the better passer out of Lonzo and LaMelo? Because they both think they're the better passer.
Yeah, man. You know what? I think that, to me, I believe as far as showmanship goes, it's probably LaMelo, right? Obviously, like he just got an extra sauce that he gonna put on it. He gonna go behind the bag. He gonna underhand scoop it to you. He gonna just do a lot more with it. I think it's hard to. For me, it's easy to just say LaMelo is the best passer just from what we seen last season. But I think that the situation that the Hornets put him in allowed him to really showcase his abilities. Mm-hmm. And I think that we haven't seen Lonzo be in the situation to showcase his abilities in a long time. So I would want to say he probably is the best passer, just IQ-wise and understanding the game. But LaMelo is box office when it comes to, like, pretty much everything he do on the basketball court.
And I want to ask you something. Do you think the Detroit Pistons fumbled the bag?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. They fumbled the bag big time for sure.
Listen, I was just telling my co-host this, right? How many Summer League players got more followers than the Hornets Instagram? How many people on the Summer League team trying out for the Hornets got more followers than the whole team?
Yeah.
That's when you fumble the bag, when you got a player with 2 million followers plus, he's supposed to be on your roster just off marketability.
Yeah, no.
I'm just being honest, because in the crowd, you're hearing in Vegas, right? Nobody. This is the kid they say can't play basketball, just brother. But whenever Jello's out the game, we want Jello.
Yeah.
And then when they take him out, put Jello back in. We don't want to see these guys.
Yeah.
Cause be honest. Cause we be honest. Like the Hornets, I was trying to watch all them guys, but we can tell 3 of them going to the league: Book Knight, Kai Jones, and Jello. Because Jello has the ability like that Steph Curry. Like when Steph Curry hit a 3, it's way different than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like they literally they're literally, when he shoots the ball, they're like, oh, and like it's like they're literally waiting for him to do something. They're waiting to explode. Yeah. As soon as Jello touches the game, the whole crowd is standing up. He's shooting 3s. He's hitting half-court shots, and that right there is going to. I think that's what's going to keep him in the league. Because as long as you can shoot and you can sell tickets, people don't really care what you're doing as long as you can make money.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely going to bring the bag in.
No, that's a fact. He's going to bring the bag in. And he's so powerful because not only does he has 2 million followers or whatever, like he's got people engaged, right? So there's people in the league who got a lot of followers, but they can't sell tickets. You know what I mean? Like nobody's showing up to see them night in and night out. Nobody's like, man, I'm finna fly to Vegas for a week to watch Summer League basketball. Was ultimately like not great basketball anyway, to watch Jello, who, you know what I mean? To watch whoever, nobody else. You could take, what's his name? Jalen Green. You could take the top picks.
Yeah.
And outside of their family, nobody hopped on a plane and went to Vegas to watch them play. You know what I mean? But people showed up and showed out to watch Jello play. And that's important. It's just, I always say this, man, it's a gift and a curse, right? Because if you're an organization, like people always say this, you don't want the guy, and this is where Jello position is at the moment. You don't want the guy, the 14th man on the bench, to be able to make headlines. You know what I mean? And if you were losing and Jello's not playing, and the audience is in the whole arena is like, put Jello in, you know what I mean? Like, as a coach, as a GM, as an ownership, like that's a nerve wracking a little bit, you know. And so it's like it's important, and it's cool because those same people yelling for Jello bought tickets to be there, but it's also like it's a headache, you know what I'm saying? But
let them coach,
yeah, but it's bread though, you know what I mean? It's a business first, so you gotta endure. Yeah. Okay,
so now do you think he's going to get put on straight on the roster, or do you see more of a 2-way or 10-day?
I see him, and this is my personal opinion, and I think that what probably is best case scenario for him immediately is I think that he's probably going to either 2-way or do some time in the G League, right? Because being honest, Jello's last game outside of that first Summer League game was his last game in the JBA USA. That's 3 years ago. So in order just to get him more reps in basketball settings and teach him the different schemes and all that stuff, I think that he's probably going to do a stint in the G League for a little bit. But it's not really a bad thing. You look at last year, they sent Vernon Carey to the G League. They sent Jalen McDaniels to the G League. And these are guys who came back up and are going to be rotational players for that Hornets team. So I don't think it's a slight to Jello. I think that it says that they really are trying to develop him if he goes that route, right? If he goes and sits on the end of the bench and never gets in the game and never gets an opportunity outside of maybe if they blowing somebody out or if they getting blown out, like it's not the same like level of opportunity. To me, that's truly, we got you here because your brother is the franchise player. If we send you down to the G League and we say, yo, you're the man right now, like get right and then come back, that's a blessing. So
yeah, okay. So you're saying more now that they know Melo, like, cause I've seen I want to speak on this. Am I the only one that seen the Hornets literally trying to stop? Like they talking about the whole slow thing. You know what I'm saying? They were literally trying to stop. They were trying to make Devontae Graham the man, but it wasn't it. They were trying. Do you felt that?
Yeah. I think from what I gather, it was last year was a contract year for Devontae Graham. So, and they really respected him, and they didn't want to see him lose a ton of money for multiple reasons, right? Just for him personally, his family. But if we're going to make a trade or get some assets, you need him to have some value. So if you sit him or you bench him for a rookie, or you don't give him the right minutes at the end of the season when you're trying to move him as a trade piece, people gonna be like, "Well, Devontae, he didn't even play for y'all last season. Like, why would we want to?" You know what I mean? And so, I think that they were trying to like keep his value high, right? Because he was playing bad basketball. So they had to say, they had to be like, "Yo, it ain't him, it's me. I'm putting him in a bad situation." And they had to take a lot of ownership. So people this season would still be like, you know what, Devontae Graham is worth some stuff. Like,
so you make it more important back. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
playing the long game. They were playing the long game. Another thing too, how do you feel about James Borrego's new energy? You see him all buttered up at Summer League.
Man, to be honest, the whole entire organization energy has changed. You know what I mean? When they drafted Melo, the words were, he got to earn a spot. He might be a small forward. He might, you know what I mean, from the GM. And now it's like, Jello is my boy. Yeah, Melo, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, Michael even, you know, so everybody is on board. We gonna play fast. We got a young core. We want to get players who can play around LaMelo. And it was obvious that last season the strategy was not to show his skill set to the best of his ability. It was to really build around Gordon Hayward, the Terry Roziers. And this season, it looked like, Melo, this is your squad, bro. You know what I'm saying? Run it. So, yeah.
Do you feel like Gordon Hayward is gone because of his price tag right now? With Miles Bridges playing good and a young core playing better than him with less money?
I think that it's a possibility, right? But to me, it's the same thing as last year with Devontae Graham. We haven't seen Gordon Hayward play in a long time, right? He missed the whole second half of that season. So at his price tag, what is the value? You know what I mean? For another organization, if I'm going to take on that contract, I need to know that I got an all-star caliber player coming to me. And I don't know if people look at Gordon Hayward at this moment as an all-star caliber player. You know what I mean? What his dollars would be. So I think he is on the squad until he either solidify himself as being able to fall in line and play his probably new role, or he play himself into enough value where they can move him for something that they do need. Because I think that we won't know really what this team needs until they really start playing and start gelling. And then they'll be like, something is missing, and we might have to go get it, which might be a backup point guard, depending on how.
But here's the thing, though. They're missing shooting. And I'm just saying, like, there's a shooter with 2.3 million followers in your training camp. I'm just saying, if you need a shooter and y'all need marketability, because besides Melo, who else jerseys is selling?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they even before Melo got there, I think there was a quote where Jordan was talking about having a franchise player and how big that is for small market teams, and how once you get one, you can't let them go. And in essence, he really got two from a marketability standpoint. He got LaMelo and Jello, two guys who probably gonna, if a Jello jersey hit the stands, you know, people gonna cop it, right?
Sold out.
You're gonna have to figure out exactly. You're gonna have to figure out which jersey do I want, Melo or Jello at that point. You know what I mean? And you're probably gonna go ahead and cop both. So it's a good problem to have, but it's a, like I said before, it's a stressful one, man, because people gonna ridicule you and act like maybe you having like you're doing it for the clout and not because you're making the best basketball decisions.
But listen, you not winning. You weren't winning. So if you're not winning, at least sell tickets.
Yeah. But
that's how you gotta look at it like that. If you suck right now, like I see the Pistons could have actually made some buzz. Nobody's watching them. they had a team that probably won 12 games with ESPN at their training camp. You know what I mean? ESPN will never show a Detroit Pistons game ever, unless they're playing the Lakers. But I wanted to say one thing too. How do you feel to be around somebody like let's go to LaMelo, right? To watch somebody that you knew that was 15 and now is rookie of the year in the NBA.
Man, it is. I would say it's kind of crazy because if you really think about like a 15-year-old, right, and where 15-year-olds are mentally, right, and you think of like a 15-year-old with a lot of money, clout, and fame, where they would be mentally, right? And I'll be honest with you, that's where Melo was, right? Melo was rambunctious, rowdy, out of control, and like, one-on-one for sure, right? But there was also this like serious switch that he could flip when it came to the game of basketball, right? I remember we were in Russia and I was talking to like I said, I used to talk to like the other team staff and stuff before the games. And I'm talking with him and the guys watching, our team is practicing and he's sitting there with me watching them practice. He's like, I don't get it. Like, look at him. He's playing. He's like having fun. He's just like a kid. Then after the game we played them, he was really under the impression that their team was going to show him like he wasn't that good. After we played them, he was like, yo, he's the best player in the building. You know what I mean? Like, period. And he was like, it's like a switch. You know what I mean? It's like he just is night and day. His approach.
So you saying he can go from So you're saying well, I can understand you. He can go from lackadaisical to dropping 30 just because he felt like it.
Yeah, to dropping 30 from not even just dropping 30, but like you remember he slapped somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that. They was fighting. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm saying he can go from like playing too much to like, I'm so serious right now, I will slap you. You know what I mean? Like that's the level of like where he was at in that moment. And I say all that to say it's so interesting to see him now be so comfortable in himself, where you look at that GQ interview and he still got some of that like raw, I'm just going to be me, say how I feel, and speak my mind. But you see some of the stuff that he's doing like off the court when he's in Australia, pretty much donated all his game money to like nonprofits and less fortunate people there.
Australian Fire. He donated his salary to Australian Fire. Shout out to Melo.
Exactly. Like you see him make those type of mature off the court things, and to me that's like the part that I see that I'm like, damn, like that's so different. Like I don't think
and it's so crazy you said that. The day he donated all his money, I bought the jersey, and it took 11 weeks to get over here. Yeah. You feel me? Yo.
I would tell you that's my biggest regret, bro. I don't got the Lithuanian jersey. I ain't got the Australian jersey.
I got the LIANGELO Vitatis jersey, and I got of course I got the Slam LaMelo jersey. I don't got a Hornets jersey because he sold out. He's selling out like hotcakes. Yeah, my boy's selling out. #1 jersey in the whole NBA. Sold all the way up to All-Star break. Yeah. He's a rookie.
Yeah, that's clutch. That's why I was surprised when he wasn't even in the like top 10 votes in All-Star. Right? You can't have that many jersey sales, that much followers, and all of that stuff, and then not be considered an all-star pick or even in the consideration for it. So,
okay, I want to ask you one more question because I don't want to hug you up too much. How do you feel about Lonzo going from a 3-and-D player on the Hornets? How do you feel about Stan Van Gundy using him as a 3-and-D player? How do you feel now that he's going to have the ball in his hand in Chicago? It's going to elevate his game.
I think that this is like his moment, man. I think that that what happened last year was the most baffling thing that I had ever seen, right? Like the Stan Van Gundy hire was crazy to me. And like even before the season, he detailed how exactly he was going to use Lonzo, and he did it. And it just underutilized him totally. So I think that this situation is so prime for him, man, with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Billy Donovan is a guy who, I was talking about this the other day, like he was the one who helped really tutor and bring Russell Westbrook to the triple double
Word.
machine that he is today. You know what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm.
that is, to me, the ceiling for Alonzo Ball is a triple double machine, right? Probably Westbrook is giving you 30 and whatever, but you know what I mean? Lonzo at least going to give you 15, 10, and you know what I mean, 12 or
10,
something like
yeah,
that.
I can see averaging 15, 10, and 8. That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. For him to
Yeah.
be 15, 10, and 8. Oh,
So,
and a cut. Go ahead.
go ahead.
As you think, now that he's in the East, he can become an all-star.
Yeah. Well, he should have been able to become one in the West too, man. They let
It's
Nah, I
hard,
mean
though.
it
You
was
got
hard.
Curry,
It's hard. You're right. You got
you got Curry, Russell Westbrook, Luka, you know what I'm saying?
you
Dame
got
Lillard. It's a
Dame.
lot in
Yeah.
the West.
No, you're right. It is hard, and it's true. He should be able to become an all-star, especially with the team that he on right now. Like it should be highlight reels every night. You know what I'm saying? Like that old Lob City Clippers. Like they need to come up
Oh, my
with
God, yeah.
Bull City. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know, something like that. But so he should be able to be an all-star for sure. I think it would be. I'm excited with him being in the East because that means the Hornets and the Bulls play 4 times a year now, right? So we get to see that
Man.
matchup more often. And if Jello's on the squad, you get Jello and Melo versus Zoe. That's gonna be cool to see. I live here in Indianapolis, so that means both of them coming to play here versus the Pacers 2 times a year. You know what I mean? So that's four.
Man.
That's 4 games I gotta like get tickets for. You know what I mean? So I'm with it.
Okay, so one more thing. What is Lonzo like in person? Like what is his personality like? Is it like how he is, or is he open in person, or is he just conservative naturally?
I would say, man, I spent less time with Lonzo than
Okay.
I did with anybody, right? But I have like spent time with him, and I'll say the first time that I met them, we were in Chicago, and it was at like the JVA tryout, and we kicked it at the tryout. They did I had like a video of it where we were shooting like half court shots after practice or whatever. Then we went to go
Mm.
lunch, and I talked about it in one of my videos when I was recapping that whole thing, like sitting there at lunch, like I sat on the end of the table as me, Demo, and Zoe, and I feel like it didn't feel like I was like the stranger at the table. You know what I mean? Like it was cool. We talked, and it wasn't like awkward. Like who is this kid? You know what I mean? So I thought that was cool. But I'll say, man, he probably is more like reserved. You know what I mean? Like when I was around
Mm.
them, Lonzo was already in the NBA, and you know they have a tight knit circle. You know what I mean? How that is.
Yeah.
It's more of I think that their family as a group is very cognizant of how valuable it is to be next to them, right? So
Mm.
like if you are showing up on Melo's Instagram, like that's clout for you. You know what I mean? Like it matters, you know. If you are
Mm.
close to Zoe, it matters, you know what I mean? Being in their entourage matters to people. So I think that they can be a bit guarded about that at times and who they let in. And I feel like at that time Zoe was definitely a lot more guarded with like, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of people around. Like I'm supposed to hang out with y'all just because y'all have my dad leave. You know what I mean? So it's all
Mm.
the stuff that makes sense. But I don't think that I like really got to talk to him and get to know him in the same way that I probably did with LaMelo and Jello like during the tour.
Okay. And you wanna ask him anything before we let him go, as co-host?
I think y'all covered everything. I just been sitting here playing backfield, listening to y'all two go back and forth.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, there's 11 interviews, fam, and I just want to show I've been really following you for years,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you even coming on my channel. And shout out all your platforms. You got a lot.
Oh man, yeah. I obviously I got the YouTube stuff, man. Here on Instagram, I like halfway started TikTok just because I'm trying to like figure out how to cross promote my YouTube channel through different platforms and all that stuff. But man,
Mm.
primarily it's over there on the YouTube at Abthehero. And we always go on live streams, kind of recaps, video content, reactions, the whole vibe, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And it's my co-host, Misfit Nina. She's a dope artist. You know what I'm saying? If you ever want to listen to her music, she's a dope artist, Misfit Nina. It's your boy K Brown, the CEO. And I appreciate you, Abthehero, for coming through from Big Baller Brand, JBA commentator. And we out. Love you.
Yeah.